All right, guys. So a lot of you have been asking me about a project with the X40, and I had a job come in that I've got to do. And this is a one of those times where I tell you guys, word of mouth is some of the best advertising you'll get. And so I've got a little quick job I've got to do. It is just a name sign, nothing too stringent, but I'm going to bring you along. I'm going to kind of show you how this is going to be put together. And we're going to design the file in Lightburn. Once we get it designed, we're going to be knocking it out on the X40 and going from there. So if you want to see the X40 in action, see what it's all about, stick around and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so the majority of this is going to be done with screen capture and in Lightburn. So I'm going to move you over there now and show you, going to give you a little history on it and show you what we're going to do. So here we go. Let's jump down to the screen. All right, so up here in the top, this is the sign, and I always keep customer files when I make something for somebody. Two reasons. In the event that something devastating happens or there's a problem with it or they decide they want another one, I don't have to go back and reinvent it. But in this case, a friend of the person I made this sign for, which was my friend Holly over at Simply Lake and Lace, a friend of hers has decided that she would like to have one as well with her child's name on it. And this is for the baby's room. It's going to be a cut, paste, glue, whatever you want to call it, as well as some painting involved. So this is what the file that I made for the other lady, this is what it looks like. And she said she wants it just like that, except with the name change. So this is going to be IS, where did it go? I've lost my text message. There we go. RAEL Cade. So make sure that's capital. So that's the name that we're going to be doing tonight. And she wants it to be similar to the one that I made for her friend. So what I'm going to need to do is actually, I'm going to take that one, finish it out. I want a total separate text box. And then I'm going to do, was it Cade? Yes. So I've got both my names in there now. And so we can begin to work. So for the first name, the way I did the other one was the first name was really big. And then the second, like the middle name is kind of small, but down below. So we're going to click on Israel here. And I'm just going to change the font. Let me make sure I got it right. Segoy UI Black. So one more reason to save your files, guys. So we're going to go down here and find that file, find that font. Make this that much easier. I wasn't sure if I still had Segoy. Is it UI Black? And then we're going to blow this up. And I've got to try to make this thing fill the entire work area best I can. Let me double check my font. Yeah, it was UI Black. Yes, sir. That is the font. So this is actually going to be a cut. We'll go ahead and change that over. And we'll just stretch this up, make it bigger as we can. All right, so now for the bottom name, and it's making it a lot easier. Dancing Script Semi-Bold. So, hey, lucky me. Go over here. I'm going to find my Dancing Script Semi-Bold. There we are. And we're going to just drag this up. And I'm going to place it kind of like right here by the end. So with my work area being what it is, now I want to select both of those guys and kind of position them to where I can maximize this as much as possible without getting outside the limits. So I think that's about where we need to be. And then to get the shape around it, guys, I just use the offset tool while those both are selected. And you're going to need to run your offset up to like 40. And when you do, look at that. Bam. Design is built. So that's all there is to that part. Now, here comes the tricky part. When I go to glue this together, these words, these letters, and I can get rid of this now because I don't need that for a reference. I'm going to go ahead and save this one before I get too carried away. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change Israel and I want to change Cade. I want to change both of those over to a score, basically. And obviously, I've got score turned off. So I'm going to turn that back on. what that's going to do for this first cut is this is going to be the foundation of what I'm making. And that is going to put markers for me to use when I go to do the glue up of this sign. So I'm going to stretch this just as much as I can because I want to get, she wants it big, so we're going to give her the whole 850 out of 430 if we can, or 400 on this one. So there we go. That's pretty big. So we're going to be cutting the outer edge and just scribing this onto the material just to give us a reference of where to put the letters when I go to the glue up process. So I'm going to be running this at, just to be safe, I'm going to run it at 10 because I want to make sure it cuts all the way out. This is a big piece of wood. Don't want to go messing any wood up, and I'm not in a hurry. The scribe, just a line, I can actually run it with this machine at 50% power and still be able to see the line really well, even after I've hit it with some paint. So that's the goal here, because I've got to make the back of this one color and the letters other colors. So that's all set up. All right, guys, so I'm going to home the machine now to get the gantry out of the way. Or actually, I'm going to move the machine. The machine has been homed. As you can see with this machine, once you get it set up, you're going to want to go in here and set you up a move location. And I got one I call park. And what that does, and you can watch in the camera, is it moves it up out of the workspace. That way, when I update the overlay, it's not in the way. Now you can still see the shadow of it right there, but it's out of the workspace. So there we go. So I've got this set. Before I send it, I'm going to confirm that the blue line is up top because I want to do my inner designs first before I do the cut. I've got the cut set down here to 10 millimeters a second, which is well below the capabilities of this machine. Also have air assist turned on. The X40 does have automatic air, and so that's a really good thing to have, especially when you're doing cutting. So here we go. I'm going to move you over to the Zillicam so you can see what's going on inside the enclosure, and I'm going to send the burn. All right, so that piece turned out nice. This is going to be the size of the sign, just so you get an idea. All right, it's going to be pretty big. Wanted it sizable. So now what I got to do is I got to have the letters to go on here. Then we're going to paint it, glue everything together, and it'll be a project. So let's reload the machine. All right, machine is reloaded. I'm going to update the camera overlay there. This piece has a lot of knots on the other side of it. I do feel like I went a little slow that last time. I'm still getting used to this machine. So I'm going to bump this up to about 12 millimeters a second for the cuts. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this line here, turn it into a tool line because I want to save my file in case I do need to remake it if I was to destroy it in the process of trying to paint it or whatever. Technically, if I wanted to save some space, let's do it this way. So I can save a little bit of my material so nobody fusses at me about waste. I'll leave this one out of the work area. Then I'll put the other one in the work area and we can just delete pieces and get stuff moved around the way I want it. And it won't matter. So, and if I take this little guy here, put it here and rotate it 90 degrees, I can stick it at the end of the, there we go. And we get both pieces and I'll have this little section here, you know, left over for a project if I need to. Let's get this show on the road, guys. Going back to Zillicam. All right, so the letters came out nice, nice clean cuts. I'm running the Atomstack X40's default stock air assist. It's really doing a pretty good job, I must say. They have stepped up their game when it comes to the air assist. You can look at the sides of the engraves. They're caramelized brown, but not black. I ran just the right speed, and say hello to Tiger. Photo bombing me as usual. But now we're going to go over here and just kind of show you how these are going to be laid out. I've still got to paint these and stain them. They want a really dark brown for Israel and then white for Cade. And of course, we're going to have a light brown stain on the back. I'm a little worried that there's not going to be enough contrast with the brown. So we may have to discuss with the customer on that. But let's move over here and I'll just kind of show you the way it's going to be laid out. Before we get ready to glue it, I got to make sure I got the colors right though. So let's walk over to the table. All right, guys. So after a few minutes, like I said, this is a simple, easy little project that you can build in Lightburn. These things are cool. The moms love them for nurseries, kids' rooms, sports team signs. If you have a favorite sports team, now, be sure to watch for copyright stuff if you use a logo. They also are really, really popular around graduation time for kids that are graduating to decorate their little graduate tables and that type of thing with. Also, high school photos, prom photos. Hook up with the photographers in your area, and these things, you can sell them to use in photography sets, and it'll keep you busy. This particular one is just, like I said, word of mouth from a previous customer. And just to show you what the finished product looks like, guys, there it is. Now, I did have to get a little creative with the dark brown. The customer said they wanted dark brown. I went as dark as I have, which is English chestnut, and it still didn't contrast well because there was just too much brown and not enough black, even with the English chestnut. So a little cheat, and I'll share this one with you guys. Always keep a can of ultra flat or flat black spray paint around. Because all you have to do is, once you get the stain on there and it's just not quite dark enough, is basically just kind of overspray whatever it is that you stained. Don't spray it thick. You want to get way back further than what the can says to do, and just basically overspray it with a little bit of black pigment. And that little bit of black that you add will make it dark and give you some contrast. And that's how I wound up doing that. It's still brown, but it has enough black in it that it's contrasting well with the color below it. So that was my fix. I didn't have any, you would think English chestnut would be dark enough, but it just wasn't. So after using the darkest stain that I had and a little bit of flat black overspray, look at that. It's dark brown. Because let's face it, guys, that's all stain is a couple of pigments mixed in with some kind of medium to make it absorb into the wood, usually paint thinner or water or some kind of oil. So I just added my own black pigment to the top layer. Easy fix. So I didn't put my letter back down straight, but I've got to wait for this to completely cure. It's dry enough now that I can move it around with minimal contamination, but I've got to wait for everything to dry, and I will be using CA glue to adhere those little letters to the main board. And once I do that, I'll go over it with a couple of layers of polyacrylic just to kind of give it that, protective coat and kind of seal everything together, hide any little lines that may exist, and we'll be done. So easy project for you. And the market is out there, guys. I sell a bunch of these things around graduation, prom time, high school photos. Like I said, photographers, I sell a lot of them. So add this to your list and make a couple, put them out there on your social media page, and see if people can pick up on them and see if the orders don't start coming in. So that's it for tonight's little quick project, guys. But if you're interested in that type of content, stick around, hit that subscribe button, and there'll be more to come. So thank you, and till next time, be safe.